Good evening. Tonight, the cost of college. It's September, and that means back to school, and for many Americans, back to the loan department. Private college tuition in America has doubled in the last 25 years, and at public universities, it has tripled. Today, the average cost of college eats up more than a third of median annual income. Now, here's another number to think about. We as a nation now have more than $1 trillion in college loan debt. $1 trillion. That's more than all the credit card debt in this country combined. So, is there a way to make a good college education affordable? Tonight we give you a look at entrepreneurs who are trying to reinvent higher education. And they're all in a place that's usually on the forefront of innovation, California, which coincidentally is also a state that is hiking public college tuition rates to unprecedented levels. We began with a businessman who raised his hand and said, it doesn't have to be that way.
The system has gotten tilted to the point where the average person can barely afford to go to college.
And Gene Wade is urgently trying to change that. From this bare-bones office space, Wade is launching nothing short of what he hopes will be a revolution in higher education on the internet. He is the CEO of University Now, an internet startup in downtown San Francisco where his team of software whizzes is working to bring quality college degrees to the masses at a price point that most anyone can afford.
We're building affordable, really high quality colleges, and we're building a network of them so that people have options when they come into the UNOW community.
Wade climbed from humble beginnings in a Boston housing project all the way to the top of the ivory tower with a law degree from Harvard and an MBA from the University of Pennsylvania. He's a longtime entrepreneur with a background in educational technology. He is big on college degrees, but doesn't believe people need to break their bank accounts to get them.
Let me tell you how bad it is. 2005, let's just take adults over the age of 30, because that's the fastest growing segment of higher education. So that group had $200 billion of school loan debt. Today they have over $619 billion of school loan debt. That's $400 billion. And we did it in 7 years. Let me put that in perspective. That's more than all the endowments of all the U.S. college universities combined, sitting on the shoulders of working adults. That's how bad it is.
Working adults, because that's who's going to college these days. What many of us picture as the traditional college student isn't so traditional anymore.
The typical student in America is over the age of 27, and they've got a family, and they're working their way through school. So, the dorm model where you go in, you live, it's socialization for you. That's not what most people are trying to get out of college.
University Now provides two college options. The first is New Charter University, launched last April and completely online. If you can afford your monthly cell phone bill, you can afford this.
It's $199 a month. It includes unlimited courses. It's probably cheaper than what it costs you to take the train to work if you take the train to work. And that's the point. It's affordable. It's $7 a day. It's lunch. And it includes all your books and all your materials.
Soup to nuts. Gene Wade promises you a college degree from New Charter University for less than $7,000.
We looked at this and said, you know what? Let's make a school that people can afford to pay out of the pocket they have today, not the one they may have in the future. You can afford to pay this right now.
And Wade's operation is a far cry from other online universities like DeVry and Kaplan, for-profits, which charge upwards of $60,000 for a degree.
I'm not going to pass judgment on the for-profits, but here's the fact. It's expensive. It's way too expensive. So if you're a bank teller, you work at some bank somewhere and you're a teller at a bank as an example, and you go out and borrow $60,000, you may get a promotion, but that promotion may not cover the school loan debt. In fact, it's most likely, more likely than not, it won't. And you'll spend a couple decades paying that off.
Right now at New Charter, you can only receive a bachelor's degree in business. Next will be a degree in criminal justice. Wade's hired 22 instructors, most with advanced degrees, whom you'll never meet in person, but he says will teach you everything you need to know.
Most American history classes don't start with an initial assessment. Ours does.
For every class, you first take a readiness assessment test, which lets students save time by skipping over material they already know. Depending on how you do, you could be ready for your final exam in 6 weeks or 16.
A lot of times you're coming in with some stuff already. If this is an accounting class and you were a bookkeeper for 5 years, you probably can pass and get pretty close to passing accounting. And so what this allows us to do is actually help that person figure out what they need to focus on.
Students take regular multiple choice quizzes and also write essays. When you're stuck, the instructor has office hours, online or over the phone, and you can go to school at your own pace.
There's your instructor, Nancy, who's available for you. You click, and Nancy can set up time with you and walk you through stuff. But your materials are there. You can pick up where you left off. You can log in off your iPad and at work even. Because we've got this problem of
Wade says the reason he can keep the cost so low is because he has very little overhead.
Just log in and create an account. Then select a course and start learning.
Since it launched last April, only 382 students have enrolled. It's too soon to really know whether employers will value a diploma from New Charter University or not. But Wade has the backing of major venture capital funds, the Gates Foundation, and other education-minded philanthropists who have invested more than $22 million in his vision. Wade is also keeping a foot in traditional academia. Last July, University Now acquired Patton University, a real-life bricks-and-mortar school in Oakland, California. The school had fallen on hard times, but it had one valuable asset, a regional accreditation. And that is huge, because being regionally accredited means classes completed at Patton can be transferred to other schools.
This is a momentous occasion. In academic
Wade
life,
hired renowned educator Janet Holmgren, who was the vice provost of Princeton University and the president of Mills College, to run the new Patton. Starting in January, Patton University will become the least expensive private college in the country, charging $329 a month. Yes, you heard that right, $329 a month. As many classes as you can take.
Come to Patton University, of course, because we are committed to the student's learning. We are committed to making it affordable for the student, and we're going to find a way to make that student successful.
And you don't have to move to Oakland to attend. Patton University Online launched in June, meaning anyone, anywhere can be a student for a class or two or a full-fledged degree. So far, only 157 students have signed up, but he has a ready-made market right in his backyard because higher education in California is in a crisis like nowhere else. Hundreds of thousands of students have been locked out of public colleges and universities.
Please have your student ID out ready for when you get inside.
At nearby Laney Community College in Oakland, there isn't enough staff to deal with the crush of students applying for financial aid and trying to pay at the cashier's office. So students wait. When we met 29-year-old Randa Powell, she had already been standing in line for an hour.
It's super difficult to stay motivated when you have to jump through all these hoops in order to get your classes and in order to get your financial aid. So I've been out of school for 10 years, so I'm like, I need to get it done now. I don't have time to waste, and it's just really frustrating.
So you want to write it and then leave a margin over here. So
At Laney, staff has been cut and courses have been eliminated in a slash-and-burn attempt to deal with the loss of $8 million since 2010.
I don't have any more syllabuses because a bunch of people were trying to get into the class. I have 18 people trying to enroll into this class.
This health class is a general education requirement. Forget about a desk. These students just want to get in.
2 of the core classes aren't being offered this semester. You're the only class.
So you weren't oriented?
I registered, and now I'm number 13 on the wait list.
Okay.
All the classes I want to take, I had to get waitlisted.
So I'm
waitlisted
I'm for waitlisted.
Yeah, and it's just, they fill up so fast.
You're all enrolled, right? Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
I mean, I've heard stories of students having to go sit in classes with lawn chairs, people spending 5 or 6 years to get through community college, people going to 3 or 4 community colleges to get the classes they need. This is America's future. These are the folks who we need to be successful.
Since 2008, the Golden State has cut $2.7 billion from its higher education budget, forcing campuses to jack up tuition and shrink their course offerings. Tuition and fees at the University of California system schools, like Berkeley, have jumped 73% in 5 years. At the California state system schools, such as San Diego State, it has jumped 84%.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
This has made for a furious student body. And last November, more than 100 students swarmed the California State University Chancellor's office and literally beat down the door as the board was debating tuition increases. 4 students were arrested, but the board approved the hikes anyway. As bad as it is, some students aren't sure internet courses are the solution.
Online doesn't work for me because of my learning style. I need to be here on campus, you know, with students, with the instructor, actually with people. I learn better like that.
But Wade hopes that the urgency of the situation will encourage students in those long lines to give online a try.
I would say to that young person, if you're going to actually be successful in the world, you're going to have to go online, right? And you may as well start now. That one's on.
When we come back, could the online revolution make college degrees unnecessary? Stay here with us. Universities, it has tripled. Today, the average cost of college eats up more than 1/3 of median annual income. Now, here's another number to think about. We as a nation now have more than $1 trillion in college loan debt. $1 trillion. That's more than all the credit card debt in this country combined. Good evening. Tonight, the cost of college. It's September, and that means back to school, and for many Americans, back to the loan department. Private college tuition in America has doubled in the last 25 years, and at public short of what he hopes will be a revolution in higher education on the internet. He is the CEO of University Now, an internet startup in downtown San Francisco where his team of software whizzes is working to bring quality college degrees to the masses at a price point that... So, is there a way to make a good college education affordable? Tonight we give you a look at entrepreneurs who are trying to reinvent higher education. And they're all in a place that's usually on the forefront of innovation, California, which coincidentally is also a state that is hiking public college tuition rates to unprecedented levels. We began with a businessman who raised his hand and said it doesn't have to be that way.
The system has gotten tilted to the point where the average person can barely afford to go to college.
And Gene Wade is urgently trying to change that. From this bare-bones office space, Wade is launching nothing